Hi, I'm Michelle Begue with a look at what's happening in Latin America now. But first, our news trivia. Which Latin American country is experiencing a historic first by having more women than men on its Olympic team for the Paris 2024 Games? We'll have the answer later. Incumbent Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro was declared the winner of the country's presidential elections. That's according to the National Electoral Council. Venezuelans took to the polls on July 28th in a contested election between Maduro and retired diplomat Edmundo González, the face of a coalition of opposition parties. According to the Electoral Authority, Maduro secured 51.2% of the votes. The opposition coalition claims that the vote count was delayed and that the results do not reflect the popular vote, prompting protests in various cities. In response, Venezuela's Attorney General, Tarek Saab, stated that his office has launched an investigation into an alleged cyber attack on the electoral system that slowed the vote count. Maduro's United Socialist Party has been in power for a quarter of a century. Maduro has held the presidential office since 2013. Now let's go to my colleague Al Baverstock in Mexico, who has a special report.
A recent study has estimated that the impact of climate change on the production of avocados could reduce yields by as much as 40% by 2050. In Mexico, which grows more than 2.5 million tons of the popular fruit a year, such figures are of serious concern. The avocado industry in Mexico is worth more than $3 billion a year. Mexico has been adversely affected by climate change in recent years. Extreme swings in the weather have led to suffocating droughts, torrential rains, and higher temperatures. These weather events have resulted in lower yields throughout the farming sector. Add to that the worsening presence of criminal cartels in Mexico's avocado-producing regions. They are blamed for both extorting farmers and halting exports. This environmental issue may soon impact the global love of one of the things avocados are most known for: guacamole.
Brazil's Lençóis Maranhenses National Park, famous for its white dunes that are filled with emerald lagoons during the rainy season, has been declared an UNESCO World Heritage Site. The dunes resemble a bedsheet from the air. That's why it was named Lençóis, which means sheets in Portuguese. The park, located on the northeastern state of Maranhão, became the 24th World Heritage Site in Brazil. Another 22 sites are on the tentative list. Peru's president, Dina Boluarte, has announced the creation of the Ministry of Public Security. The intent is to help better fight growing criminal organizations. The new department replaces the Ministry of Interior. President Boluarte also announced a plan to empower 2 agencies so they can investigate and bring to justice organized crime groups. One of those is El Tren de Aragua, which has a presence in several Latin American countries. Peru expects to graduate some 6,000 new police officers before the end of the year. Now let's check out what stories we're following for next week. We're following the investigation opened by Mexico's Security Ministry regarding the events that led to last week's arrest of a Sinaloa cartel chief. Ismael El Mayo Zambada was apprehended in El Paso, Texas. Zambada's lawyer says that his client had been kidnapped by a son of former Sinaloa cartel chief Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, who wanted to surrender to U.S. authorities, and dragged Zambada with him. They boarded a small plane, landed in Texas, and got arrested. The Sinaloa cartel is one of the largest and oldest drug trafficking organizations in Mexico. And now the answer to our news trivia. The answer is B. The Games in Paris will mark the first time Brazil sends an Olympic delegation with a female majority. Women account for 55% of the group that totals 277 athletes. One factor contributing to this is that the female athletes qualified in team sports for soccer, volleyball, handball, and rugby. The men only qualified for volleyball and basketball. Overall, Paris 2024 is the first Olympics with an equal number of female and male athletes. Women first competed in the Olympics in 1900. That year, the Games were held in Paris as well. And that's it for this week. We'll see you again soon on Latin America Now.